Welcome to another program of Saluting New Readers. My name is Sheri Doerr and I teach 5th grade at Mount St. Mary's School here in Grass Valley. This is the 4th year that our 5th grade has participated in Saluting New Readers. And now I welcome you to listen to the stories of the 5th grade of Mount St. Mary's.
Hi, I'm Daniel Molina, and I'll be reading The Adventures of Captain Underpants. The Adventures of Captain Underpants. The Really Cool Adventures of Captain Underpants. Written by George Beard, drawn by Harold Hutchins. There was a time of darkness and despair for planet Earth. Bad guys had taken over the streets, and all of the superheroes in the world were too old to fight evil. Then along came a new, improved, extra-strength superhero. Look, up in the sky! It's a bird! It's a plane! It's an egg salad sandwich! No way, I'm Captain Underpants! Captain Underpants was faster than a speeding waistband, more powerful than boxer shorts, and able to leap tall buildings without getting a wedgie. Night and day, Captain Underpants watched over the city, fighting for truth, justice, and all that is pre-shrunk and cottony. Meanwhile, at a nearby elementary school, it was Stinky Taco Surprise Day at the cafeteria. Yuck. Everyone hated it so much they threw it all away. They threw it all away. Soon the cafeteria food came to life. I am the inedible hunk! The monster ran around the school eating everything in sight. Help! The inedible hunk just ate 15 folding chairs and the gym teacher. Oh no, not the folding chairs! This looks like a job for Captain Underpants! Captain Underpants shot lots of underwear at the monster, but it didn't do any good. So Captain Underpants took off running. The inedible hunk chased him, and chased him, and chased him. Finally, the inedible hunk got too tired and thirsty to chase Captain Underpants. How about a nice drink of water? So the monster took a long drink from a shiny white bowl, when suddenly, flush! Hooray for Captain Underpants! And so, the inedible hunk got flushed away and was never heard from again. Don't miss our next exciting adventure, Captain Underpants and the Attack of the Talking Toilets, coming soon to a playground near you. Thank you for listening to me read. If you want to find out how this story ends, check it out at your local library.
My name is Janine, and I'm going to read The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe by C.S. Lewis, Chapter 3, Edmund and the Wardrobe. Lucy ran out of the empty wardrobe into the passage and found the other three. It's all right, she repeated. I've come back. What on earth are you talking about, Lucy? Asked Susan. Why, said Lucy in amazement, haven't you all been wondering where I was? So you've been hiding, have you? Said Peter. Poor old Lou, hiding and nobody noticed. You'll have to hide longer than that if you want people to start looking for you. But I've been away for hours and hours, said Lucy. The others all stared at one another. Batty, said Edmund, tapping his head, quite batty. What do you mean, Lou? Asked Peter. What I said, answered Lucy. It was just after breakfast when I went into the wardrobe, and I've been away for hours and hours and had tea, and all sorts of things have happened. Don't be silly, Lucy, said Susan. We've only just come out of that room a moment ago, and you were there then. She's not being silly at all, said Peter. She's just making up a story for fun, aren't you, Lou? And why shouldn't she? No, Peter, I'm not, she said. It's a magic wardrobe. There's a wood inside it, and it's snowing. There's a fawn and a witch, and it's called Narnia. Come and see. The others did not know what to think, but Lucy was so excited that they all went back with her into the room. She rushed ahead of them, flung open the door of the wardrobe, and cried, Now, go and see for yourselves. Why, you goose, said Susan, putting her head inside and pulling the coats apart. It's just an ordinary wardrobe. Look, there's the back of it. Then everyone looked and pulled the coats apart, and they all saw. Lucy herself saw a perfectly ordinary wardrobe. Thank you for listening to me read. If you would like to hear the end of this book, check it out at your local library.
Hi, my name is Natalie, and I'm going to read Holes by Louis Shacker. There is no lake at Camp Green Lake. There once was a very large lake here, the largest lake in Texas. That was over 100 years ago. Now it's just a dry, flat wasteland. There used to be a town of Green Lake as well. The town shriveled up and dried along with the lake and the people who lived there. During the summer, the daytime temperature hovers around 95 degrees in the shade, if you can find any shade. There's not much shade in a big dry lake. The only two trees are the old oaks in the eastern edge of the lake. A hammock is stretched between the two trees, and a log cabin stands behind that. Campers are forbidden to lie in the hammock. It belongs to the warden. The warden owns the shade. Out on the lake, rattlesnakes and scorpions find shade under the rocks and in the holes dug by the campers. Here's a good rule to remember about the rattlesnakes and scorpions. If you don't bother them, they won't bother you, usually. Being bit by a scorpion or even a rattlesnake is not the worst thing that can happen to you. You won't die, usually. Sometimes a camper will try to be bitten by a scorpion or even a small rattlesnake. Then he will get to spend a day or two recovering in his tent instead of having to dig a hole out on the lake. But you don't want to be bitten by a yellow-spotted lizard. That's the worst thing that can happen to you. You will die a slow and painful death, always. If you get bitten by a yellow-spotted lizard, you might as well go into the shade of the oak trees and lie in the hammock. There's nothing anyone can do to you anymore. The listener is probably asking, why would anyone go to Camp Green Lake? Most campers weren't given a choice. Camp Green Lake is a camp for bad boys. If you take a bad boy and make him dig a hole in the hot sun, it will turn him into a good boy. That is what some people thought. Stanley Yelnats was given a choice. The judge said, you may go to jail or you may go to Camp Green Lake. Stanley was from a poor family. He had never been to camp before. Stanley Yelnats was the only passenger on the bus, not counting the driver or the guard. The guard sat next to the driver with his seat turned around facing Stanley. A rifle lay across his lap. Stanley was sitting about 10 rows back, handcuffed to his armrest. His backpack lay on the seat next to him. It contained his toothbrush, toothpaste, and a box of stationery his mother had given him. He promised to write her at least once a week. Thank you for listening to me read. If you want to hear the rest of this story, you can check it out at your local library.
Hi, my name is Elliot Gunnison, and I will be reading Sir Gawain and the Green Knight. Of all the knights who had their places at King Arthur's round table, Sir Gawain seemed to be the one who had something strange about him. Gawain of the flaming red hair and the temper that flamed to match it, and as swift as fire to spring up and as dangerous, but as swift to sink again. He was of the old people, the dark people, and then so was Gathrius and Abigraine, their younger brother, who by now had also joined the court. So was his cousin Urrain, and so was Arthur himself on his mother's side. It was more than that. Strange stories were told about Gawain. The country folk said that his strength waxed and waned with the sun, so it was fitting that one of the strangest adventures ever to befall the knights of the Round Table should come to him. On Christmas, that Sir Lancelot was still away upon his own quest, Arthur held his court at Camelot, for this time had come not yet when he kept his Christmas at Charlesline. Yuletide went by with many festivities, and it came to New Year's Eve. Now, Christmas was chiefly a matter for the church, but New Year's Eve was for banqueting and merrymaking. And so when dusk came, the whole court gathered to their feasting, and in the great hall the knights of the Round Table, each at their places. The lesser knights and the squires at the sideboards. Even the queen and her ladies had come to join the feast and look on from under her silken canopy. At the upper end of the hall, for there would be dancing after the banquet was done. Already the serving squires were bringing in their great charges of goose and venison, and swans and ships and towering castles made of almonds and honey. The wine glowed red in the crystal goblets, and the hall leapt with torchlight and lifted the music of the harper who sat at the queen's feet. The boar's head was brought in, wreathed in scented bay leaves, and hurled bright trumpets, and carried high on the shoulders of 4 pages. But just as it set on the table, the great doors of the hall flew open, and a gust of wind burst in, making the torches stream sideways, and the flames of huge log fires crouched down upon the hearths, and a little snow eddied in on the dark wings of the wind. The harper fell silent between note and note. The voices of the reveling company fell away, and every face turned towards the door of the night beyond, and a great silence took the hall where the cheerful sounds of merrymaking had been. And into the silence came the clang and bell clash of a horse's hooves upon a frost-bound courtyard stones, and out of the darkness in the torchlight and firelight that steadied the light as though it was greeting, rode a great man, almost a giant, upon a war horse that was fitting size to carry him. Thank you for listening to me read. If you want to know how the story ends, check it out in your local library.
Hi, my name is Greg Hauser, and I'll be reading Half-Pipe Ripoffs. Watch this, Wall Evans called to his friends as he skateboarded down his driveway on Friday afternoon. His muscles tensed as he slipped his back foot behind the trucks and popped up the nose of his board. In a flash, he kicked the board into the air with his front foot and landed cleanly onto an old railroad track for 50-50. They had found the long iron track in the woods near an abandoned mine and had dragged it out. It was the main feature of the small course they had set up on Wall's dead-end street. Squeak, the music of the metal on the metal. There's nothing sweeter than a perfect July afternoon when you're skating with your pals. Wall shifted his weight forward and his board went into a nose grind on the iron track. Tiny sparks flew up from his board before he kicked the backside of his board to flip it. As he landed on the pavement, he glanced up at his crew, Nat Whitmore, Kevin Schlutz, and Jamal Smith. "Don't blink," Wall shouted. His front foot stomped the deck, the tail bounced up, followed by the nose, into a massive nollie at least 2 feet off the pavement. Wall sucked air as if it would make him lighter, while his heel pushed down on the back edge. The board flipped like a hot cake and landed wheels up. Oomph! Wall crashed hard on his hip. The pain shot up from his spine to his shoulder. Sucking air didn't work. What goes up must come down, and not exactly the way he planned. Wall unbuckled his helmet and tore off his knee and elbow pads. Tony Hawk crashes and burns at the X Games, Jamal shouted as he whacked his hammer against a nail he was driving. Tony Hawk was one of the most gnarliest pro skaters around. Thank you for listening to me read. If you want to know how the story ends, check it out at your local library.
Hi, my name is Kevin Carrillo, and I will be reading SpongeBob Superstar. Hey Patrick, SpongeBob SquarePants called, "Come look at this." Patrick took another lick of his ice cream cone. "What is it?" he asked, and made his way to his best friend. "I picked this up at the Krusty Krab as I was leaving," SpongeBob explained and handed Patrick a flyer. Patrick took the flyer and began to read. "Do you want to be a rich and famous star? Do you dream of making it big in Celebrity C? Well, here's your chance. Seeking the underwater's world's biggest daredevil for a TV special. Auditions tomorrow, 10 a.m. at the Krusty Krab. BYOS. Bring your own stunt." "A daredevil TV show," exclaimed SpongeBob. "Do you know what this means?" Must see TV?" guessed Patrick. SpongeBob grinned and replied, "Well, of course, but it also means we can show off our stunts. We could become famous." "But we don't have any stunts," said Patrick. "Sure we do," SpongeBob declared. "But we just haven't thought of them yet." What can I do?" Patrick wondered. SpongeBob thought for a moment. He looked at the melting ice cream in Patrick's hand. "You can do something with ice cream," he told Patrick. "But how is that a daredevil stunt?" Patrick asked. I know. What about the most number of licks it takes to finish an ice cream cone?" SpongeBob suggested with a smile. "Yeah," cheered Patrick. "I'm a daredevil." "Well, I better go think of a stunt to practice," SpongeBob said. "I'll see you tomorrow." "See you then," Patrick called. "I better practice too." He began to lick and count. 1, 2, 3. SpongeBob went home. After he fed Gary, he took a bath and heated up a leftover Krabby Patty for dinner. Ooh, she said, looking at the TV listings while he ate. There's a Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy marathon on tonight. Then he remembered he was going to practice a stunt for tomorrow's Daredevil auditions. Well, I'll just watch 1 or 2 episodes and then practice. Hi, thank you for listening to me read. If you want to hear the rest of this story, check it out at your local library.
Hi, my name is Nathaniel McGill, and I'll be reading The Night of the Gargoyles. The gargoyles squat high on corners, staring into space, their empty eyes unblinking, till night comes. Then there is movement in the shadowy corners as the gargoyles creep on stubs of feet along the high ledges and peer nearsighted into rooms where mummies lie in boxes long and thin as coffins, ribboned around with painted boats and figures dark as night. And gargoyles creep again to gape at suits of armor shimmering stiff, their helmets hinged on eyes as bloodless as their own. Or tired of viewing, fly if they have gargoyle wings, straight up to lick the stars with long stone tongues green pickled at the end. Or land in sleeping trees to swing on branches, dee-dah, and feel the air move coolly against their pochmarked stone. Then down they swoop to where a fountain splashes dark, the water squirting from a cherub's mouth. Gargoyles hunch around the rim, and gargoyles grunt with friends from other corners who have come for company. Thank you for listening to me reading. If you want to hear how this book ends, check it out at your local library.
Hi, my name is Rusty, and I will be reading Charlie the Caterpillar. One bright and sunny day, Charlie the Caterpillar was born. The world looked very, very big to Charlie because he was very small, because he was just born. Charlie soon found out how delicious green things tasted. As he was nibbling on a blade of grass, he could hear the wind whistling and the birds singing. He smiled. He was glad to be alive. Charlie decided to set out and see the world. So he looked to the left and he looked to the right, and then he went straight ahead. Soon Charlie saw 2 monkeys. "Hi," said Charlie, "what are you doing?" "We're playing cards," they said. "Oh," said Charlie, "that sounds like fun. Can I play too?" "No, you can't," said the monkeys. "Why not?" asked Charlie. "Because you're an ugly caterpillar." Charlie, for the very first time in his young life, felt bad. He sighed. He would have shrugged if he had any shoulders. He looked to the left and he looked to the right, and then he went straight ahead. Pretty soon he saw 2 rabbits hopping around. "Hi," said Charlie, "what are you doing?" "We're playing tennis," they said. "Oh," said Charlie, "that looks like fun. Can I play too?" "No, you can't," said the rabbits. "Why not?" asked Charlie. "Because you're an ugly caterpillar, and we don't play with ugly caterpillars." Now, for the second time in his young life, Charlie felt bad. Very bad. His feelings were hurt. "What is ugly?" wondered Charlie. He didn't feel ugly. He looked to the left, and he looked to the right, and he went straight ahead. Thank you for listening to me read. If you want to find out the end of this book, check it out at your local library.
Sarah Narvaez, and I'm going to be reading Miss Spider's Tea Party. One lonely spider sipped her tea while gazing at the sky. She watched insects on leaves and many flying by. If I had friends like these, she sighed, who'd stay a while with me, I'd sit them down on silken chairs and serve them cakes and tea. Two timid beetles, Ike and May, crept from the woodwork that same day. But when Miss Spider begged, "Please stay," they shrieked, "Oh no," and dashed away. 3 fireflies flew inside that night, their spirits high, their tails alight. They spied the web and squeaked in fear, "We'd better get away from here." The little trio did not feel they cared to be a spider's mate. 4 bumblebees buzzed outside. "Please come to tea," Miss Spider cried. The 4 ignored her scream. She waved a tea towel in the air. She took a cup and tapped the glass. Then when bees spoke to her at once, "We would be fools to take our tea with someone so spidery." Within the shadows of the room, just peeking from behind a broom, 5 grinning faces blonde and pure. Miss Spider smiled, her heart was cheered. Descending for a closer look, she danced into the gloomy night, but sadly found those jolly mugs belonged, alas, to roundabouts. Some ants strode in, they numbered 6, but ants with spiders will not mix. She brewed them tea of hips of roses, the proud platoon turned up their noses. A fine bouquet concealed its prize of 7 dainty butterflies. Miss Spider, watching from the wall, was not aware of them at all. The tea table was set for 8 with saucers, cups, and silver plate. The cakes were fresh, the service clean, yet no one would arrive, it seemed. Her company in no demand left her a cup wherever he could. Thank you for listening to me read. If you would like to read the rest of this book, check it out at your local library.
Hi, my name is Vincent Ormsby, and I'll be reading The Legend of King Arthur. My name is Merlin, a name to conjure with. Merlin the wizard, Merlin King Arthur's friend. I live deep in a cave, a limestone treasure house of rock, water, and time. I sit beside a stream among the snow-white columns formed where slowly stalagmites and stalactites have met. I sit where I have sat for centuries, sunk in my soft cushion on my seat of stone. Like my books, which lie scattered about me, I am being slowly fossilized by the steady drip of time. Already my limbs are set in shining stone, my hair and beard have frosted hard. Even if I woke, I could not move. For where is the ancient magic that might rescue me? It has not always been so. Before I came to this cave, which has since become my prison, more than 1,000 years ago, I lived in a world quite different from yours. Then there was war and suffering, love and happiness as there is today. But it was a marvelous time of knights and adventures, magic and monsters too. It is a marvelous tale, the story of that time, the story of Uther Pendragon, of Arthur and Guinevere and Arthur's knights. Above all, it is the story of Arthur, King Arthur of Camelot, and the Fellowship of the Round Table. But it is my story too, for I, Merlin, helped to make it possible. Without Merlin, Arthur would never have been born. Thank you for listening to me read. If you want to know how this story ends, check it out at your local library.
Hi, my name is Tori Gallagher. I'm going to be reading No David. David's mom always says, "No, David. No, David. No, David, no. No, no, no. Come back here, David. David, be quiet. Don't play with your food. That's enough, David. Go to your room. Settle down. Stop that this instant. Put away your toys. Not in the house, David. I said no, David. Davy, come here. Yes, David, I love you. Thank you for listening to my story. If you want to check out this book, go to your local library.
Hi, my name is Megan, and I will be reading to you a version of Little Lulu, a dog's lifesaver. Huh? Yip, 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 yip. What? Gosh, what's the matter, puppy? Yip, yip, yip. Uh-oh. Let's get out of here. He's coming after us. I've got to hide you somewhere, quick. I saw her go in here. Ha! Think you can fool me? There you are. Can I help you, sir? I'm the dog catcher. I'm looking for a stray dog. But these are all stuffed dogs. The one I'm looking for is a live dog, and he's right here. Well, you can examine him closely, sir. Interested in a stuffed dog, ma'am? Yes, I like this one. It's so lifelike. I'll wrap it up. There you are, ma'am. Thank you. I'll follow that little girl. I'll bet she knows where that dog is. Come on, out with it. Where is that? Ow! Huh? Lady, did you bite me? I beg your pardon? Take that, you. Yeah! Uh-oh. This way, puppy. You won't get away from me. I'm the dog catcher. Look out! Now look what you've done. They're heading in one of these rolls. I'll shake them out. I'll find it. Ha! Gotcha. Zip. Zip. This could go on all day. Ha! I know what I'll do. I'll be right back with this. I want to take it out into the light. Ha ha. We can't leave you up there now, can we? Gosh, thanks, lady. Come on, puppy. Out the back way. Wow, wow. Yep, yep. Yep. Wow, wow. I'll leave the little girl in there to teach her a lesson. Here's your linoleum. I don't like it. Come what may, McCain always gets his dog. Yes, sir? Yep, yep, yep. Yep. Yep, 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 yep. Yep. Wowee. Yep, yep. Thank you for listening to me read. If you want to hear the rest of the book, check it out at your local library.
Hi, my name is Tanner Mathias, and I'll be reading The Horse and His Boy. By about 11 o'clock, the whole company was once more on the march, riding westward with the mountains on their left. Corn and Shasta rode right at the rear with the giant immediately in front of them. Lucy and Edmund and Peter were busy with their plans for the battle, and though Lucy once said, "Where is the goose-cap highness?" Edmund only replied, "Not in the front," and that's good news enough. Leave us alone. Shasta told Corn most of his adventures and exploring that he had learned all his riding from a horse and didn't really know how to use the reins. Corn instructed him in this, besides telling him all about the secret sailing from Tahiti. "And where's Queen Susan?" At Caraparavel," said Corn. "She's not like Lucy, you know, who's as good as a man, or at any rate, as good as a boy. Queen Susan is more like an ordinary grown-up lady. She doesn't ride into wars, though she is an excellent archer." Thank you for listening to me read, and if you want to hear the rest of this story, check it out at your local library.
Hi, my name's Alva, and I'm going to be reading to you Thanksgiving Day Feast. Grandfather Groundhog serving spoon in one hand, fork in the other, and feast in front of him, smiled at all his friends. "You remember about Columbus discovering America, don't you?" he asked. "Oh yes," said the woodland folk. "That was fun." Well, Grandfather Groundhog went on. About 200 years after that, some people decided to come here to live. They sailed across the ocean, built homes in the wilderness, cleared land, and made gardens. They had to fight Indians, and things were very hard, but their gardens thrived, and at last they had enough to eat. So one day, they had a big feast to give thanks for the good harvest. They cooked good things from their garden, and when the table was ready, no one had ever seen such a feast. There was turkey and all kinds of vegetables, said Grandfather Groundhog, spooning the vegetables out. And corn, he smiled, passing the steaming platter of corn. He smiled, passing the corn and good hot bread. And for afterwards, there was pie made from pumpkin, something those people had never seen till they came to America. Once he had served everyone, Grandfather Groundhog asked lessons. Then all the woodland folk ate and ate, just as the early settlers must have done. If you want to hear the rest of the story, you can check it out at your local library.
Hi, my name is Krista, and I'm going to be reading Miss Spider's new car. Mom writes that we should come to a tea. Let's go, Miss Spider cried. We'll hire a frog to cross the bog. Down to the riverside among the mice we might entice a fuzzy woodland guide. Those mice could bite you, Holly howled. The river's full of snakes. To think you atop a frog gives me the quiver shakes. It's much too far. Let's buy a car instead, for heaven's sakes. You're brilliant, dear, Miss Spider cheered, with sky blue shells and silver bells and chimney bits of shine. Look over there, I do declare, that one will suit us fine. Miss Spider grinned. We'll take it home, but Holly only frowned. Would it be wise to take the first jopoly that we found? I'll ask the bee to wait till 3 so we can shop around. Mike Mantis crooned. This honey runs on nectar from a flower. Its two-stem engine is equipped with turbo bumble power and capable of reaching speeds 90 yards per hour. Poor Holly shrieked, it's much too fast. Please look out where you're going. There might be hungry rats down here. We have no way of knowing. How fine it is, Miss Spider laughed, to feel my tummy blowing. Slicktail the snail, said Holly, calls this gem the escargot. It looks all sleek and spirally, but rides so nice and slow. That sail snail, said Miss Spider, looks familiar, don't you know? The wheel is out of date, whooped Hop, just like a dinosaur. Our Flexo Fleece Spring loaded legs are what you're looking for. Just pull the round brown throttle down and hear the engine roar. Why travel on the public road, such trouble that it brings? The bumps and holes, the toads and moles, the snakes and rats and things. Thank you for listening to me read. If you want to hear the rest of the story, check it out at your local library.
Hi, my name is Erin Garangelli, and I'm going to be reading One Day in the Tropical Rainforest. Come on up, he called to Dr. Rivero. There are nameless and beautiful things up here. Dr. Rivero's face brightened. Forgetting his fears, he stepped on the first rung and slowly climbed skyward. Tepuy leaned down to encourage him, and his only arrow fell out of his pack and plunged out of sight in the jungle. No! Cried Tepuy, reaching for it. Without the arrow, he could not get Dr. Rivero up to the top of the tree. He covered his face with his hands. The fate of the forest was sealed. No nameless butterflies flitted in the lower limbs of the tree. The forest could not be saved. His heart ached for the animals, the plants, and his people. 12:55 p.m. The 11 bulldozers and 4 trucks arrived at the field office of the tree cutting company and stopped. Dr. Rivero was abreast of the sloth. Slowly he turned her head to, and as she did so, he saw her. He wondered at her her droll black eyes, her lightweight body, and her 3-toed feet. Then he saw Tepehui's arrow. He could not reach it. Grabbing the nest hole of the scarlet macaw, he pulled himself and the ladder to the sloth. With a quick movement, he let go of the hole and snatched the arrow before he swung back. The baby sloth snorted. Thank you for listening to me read. If you want to hear how this story ends, you can check it out at your local library.
What do you love?
Reading!
And where do you go to school?
Mount St. Mary's!
And are you in 1st grade?
No!
Are you in 3rd grade?
No!